Hi, and here is the last episode in Unlocking Your Spiritual Connection. Now, as I said at the beginning, we would be doing a question and answers section. I have had just some amazing questions that have literally blown me away. Some of them really advanced and really deep. So what I've done is I've gone through them all and picked those that will be more beneficial to many of you, to the collective, rather than really, really personal ones. Even though obviously it was lovely for you to send all of those through, but there were so many of them, and obviously it's just personal to you, whereas some of the other ones I can actually use for everybody and all of their experiences. And there are some amazing ones, some absolutely brilliant ones. So what I was originally going to do, I was going to do a full episode and answer all of these questions. Now I've picked 10, but I honestly believe that this is going to go into actually 2 episodes. And otherwise, by the end of this, if I answered them all, you would just, your mind would be boggling. So I've decided to split it up. So there is going to be 5 that I will answer now, and then I will put another video up after that, going into the other 5. But still, if you've got any actual questions from these answers, just put them out there. Just put them on my channel and ask again, because it's just brilliant to go deeper and deeper. And the more that obviously you are awakening, the more that you're doing the practices, the more questions that you'll have, the more experiences that you will have. So just keep putting those answers, questions, experiences, everything into the comment section on my channel. Right, first question. So somebody has asked, do I and can I hold back a loved one once they've passed over? Now, the answer to this is basically yes. The situation is obviously once that spirit has passed, they have a window, a short window, so many weeks between them being here. It's like what we call the rainbow bridge, being here and passing over to fully to the spirit realm. And in that time, obviously, you're grieving, which is understandable, the loss of a loved one, and that pull can actually hold them back to a degree. So it seems in some instances to quite a massive degree, where they actually don't ever actually properly pass on to where they need to go, and they end up in this dimension or one above this, and so that they can linger quite a while. So, I mean, I understand people's grief. I've been there myself. But once you truly realize that there is no death, they are just purely going to the next level on, and where they go is just amazing. And really, it's quite selfish of us to hold them back. It's only us that feels that we're doing that. Once they've passed and once they've gone, what they feel and what they experience is on another level. And why I can tell you this is because I've personally had that experience. I'm not telling you this from a place of belief. I am telling you this from a purely experiential event, more than one, that I have actually experienced. I experienced going home. I know where I'm going, where my soul goes when I leave this earthly plane. So again, so yes, you can hold people back through your grief. The best thing to do is obviously to very much meditate on this, and to have the realization of the love that you felt for the people, and feel that it's all right to once they've gone and understand where they're going. And I know that we do feel loss and we do feel grief, and this is purely on a human level. I've been there and I've done that myself, but for me, obviously, it makes it easier having that experience of knowing where somebody goes once they have passed. So yes, the answer to that is you can hold somebody back with too much grief, and thinking about them, you know, is lovely, is fine. You will probably have that connection with them once they've moved on into another realm. But once you get over that grief process, if you can just work yourself through it, and I know this isn't a hard, you know, this is a hard thing that I'm saying to you to do, and I don't say this lightly, but to believe that once somebody has passed over, they are obviously in an amazing place, and they've not gone anywhere. They've just gone to a different dimension, a different level, and it's only us that experiences the grief and the loss. They don't. Which is, I know, is a really weird thing to say, but I've experienced that myself. And when I was over there on the other side, and I know this is probably going to sound a little bit callous and a little bit strange, but this is only coming from my experience, is that once you have passed, that emotional connection that we have to children, to partners, to anything, and we think that we're actually gonna miss them like we do, like we experience on a human level. You don't. You just back to the love, the light, the all omnipresence of everything, and you don't have that connection anymore. So that's the difference. We do have that on a human level, but once they've passed, they don't have that. They're not grieving for us that are here, really. So it's a very much a human thing, human emotion, human experience. And again, yes, the answer to that question, you can hold somebody back quite a bit. So if you can be aware of that, you know, it would be a benefit to those that have passed. Now, I will tell you about an amazing book that I read probably a good few years ago. Don't know whether you've come across it, and it's called The Afterlife of Billy Fingers. Now, I will have a look and see if I can find the book, and I'll put the link below this video. And I have recommended this book to a lot of people who have had people that have passed. And reading this book has really, really helped them. It is an amazing book. So on this subject, I will put the link below. And if you read it, I'm sure you'll find some beautiful things in there to realize that's where we go, and it will help you, help your heart, and help you emotionally, and help your grief. Okay. So next question. And so, like I said to you, with some of these, we do get a little deep. But what I will say to you is, in my answer to any of these questions, if you feel that it's going over your head or you don't fully understand it, don't worry about it, because it will, the information, the vibration will go into your auric field, into your energy. And at whatever point in time, when it is deemed correct for you to totally walk into that information, it will come in and you will have that aha moment. And I am saying this to you because I have done this over and over and over again. I have listened to many things in the past where I have thought, wow, that's interesting, but I don't fully understand it. I don't fully grasp it at the moment, but sit with it, and it will come again at some point in the future. That information will just drop in, and you will have an aha moment, and you will have total knowing. So don't worry about any of the things that I shall say. If you don't fully comprehend it, like I say, it will just go into, just say, okay, you know, just put it into my field, and it will drop in at the right time of when you need to know this information. Okay. So next question. And this is amazing. So somebody's asked that they realize that they come back, obviously, quite a few times with reincarnation. But what they've said is that, do they have a say whether they come back or not? And I find this really, really interesting. I mean, obviously, you know that I'm a qualified BQH practitioner, so I do a lot of past life regression over the years. So this was a really nice question to get. With all of the regressions that I've done, obviously we go back to many, 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 many lives. And we also go to that section in between sometimes, where in between a life, where somebody's gone back and they've not quite come back again. So they're at the review stage. The question to this is, it would be so nice, wouldn't it, to think that I've had enough, and when I go back again, I can say, no, I'm not doing it again. That's it. Done. Finished. I'll stay here. Thank you very much. And a lot of people do this. They say, right, I am definitely not coming back again. Gosh, wouldn't it be that easy just to say, right, done, dusted? Unfortunately, that's not the case. This is just a human aspect that we have, that we think that we have some control over it. Our souls, our higher selves, our guides think differently. So I don't think, through everything that I've experienced, that we have that ability to actually say, no, I'm not coming back again. Because once we're out of this bodily temple, that I call it, we feel differently. We look at things from an expansive view, a totally different perspective. And it's all down to our soul level, our soul signature, to what we've experienced over the many lives that we've already had, not just earthly lives. There can be lives in other universes, other planets, obviously, because everything is so vast. So it doesn't have to be purely an earthly existence. But as a soul, you know, we could be having multiples at one time, because once you're out of space and time of Earth, you know, obviously time isn't linear anymore. So no, we don't really have that say, as we are here on the human logical aspect, to say, no, I'm not coming back, because it's very different once we get where we're going. And it depends on, like I've just said, the soul vibration, the soul signature, what we've already signed up for, what we've agreed to come in and do in this lifetime. So, you know, it's where you've got to within this and many other lifetimes, because, you know, Earth's a school. So it's what we've done, what we've experienced, and whether we need to experience anything else, whether we have any more to do with our job, of why we're here. So I would say that no, we don't have a choice. Looking from a human linear aspect, it's very different, like I say, when we get where we're going on a soul level, because that's just down to the experience, the frequency, and how many times we've been here, other places. So we will look at it very differently. So I believe, through everything that I've done, that's not really an aspect that we can consider here and now, because it's very different to where we go. So I found this question really interesting, especially obviously with everything that I do within my practice and my business. So I hope that's, I know it was a rather long answer. I hope that's answered that a little bit. I know it can be very disappointing for some people to think that you haven't got that control, but that's another thing that we think about, that we think that, you know, in this life, it's all about control. And when you're on a spiritual path, it's completely the opposite. It's releasing that control completely. So we're trusting more to the universe and to our omnipresence and why we're here, and to release that 3D aspect of the human control. So like I said, if it gets a little bit too over people's heads, Just don't worry about it. It'll all fall into place in the future at the right time, right place, believe me. So, third question. And somebody asked that what crystals can they use to protect themselves from negative entities, negative beings? And again, another highly interesting question. So there are lots of crystals out there, obviously, that say that they protect, and they do, some of them, you know, to a degree. You've got the lights of black tourmaline, you've got tiger's eye. All you have to do is Google, and you'll see that there are quite a few. But this is my thing. When somebody says to me, can I protect myself from something negative? And, you know, it doesn't even have to infer a crystal. Now, if you're looking to feel that you've got to protect yourself from anything negative, some people will say, right, okay, use a crystal that will protect me. Some people, I don't know whether you've heard, where they do an imaginary bubble around them to protect them from negative energy. Now, for me, I don't believe purely having something outside of yourself to protect you from a negative anything, because you're here as a human being, as a soul, to experience it all. And that might be upsetting for some people, but that's what your life journey is all about. It is what we class as a negative and the positive. It's all an experience. But if you're coming from a fear-based position and feel that you've got to protect yourself from something outside of yourself, whether it be a negative force, negative energy, whatever it is, you know, you are putting yourself at that lower vibration, whereas those negative energies can come to you and obviously can disrupt yourself. And you can pull in, again, you can pull in the negative energies. So what I'm saying is, you know, don't rely on anything outside yourself, whether it be putting yourself in a bubble of light, you know, whether it be looking at a crystal to think that that is going to protect you from something. You know, that the idea is that we use our own being, our own energy to raise your frequency up enough where we're not looking at any negative energy around us, because you're at such a level they can't even touch you. So again, think on that ability of, you know, not thinking that, okay, what crystal do I need to protect myself from something? You know, think that you are a very powerful being yourself, very powerful. So you don't need anything outside of yourself to be able to protect yourself. You know, if you raise your vibrational frequency enough and keep doing that and keep raising it above the level of fear, then you won't have to worry about any of that. And what I will say is, go back to any of the episodes that I've done, and especially the one where we actually are working with mantras and we are doing the meditations and we are bringing that light in, because that raises your frequency a lot. And if you practice that, you won't have to worry about any lower levels, because you'll be operating from a higher level, from a higher frequency. So you won't have to worry about that. So what I will say is, keep going back and using the meditation, the mantras and everything else, the light activations that I've put within the courses as well. Keep using those to keep yourself at a higher level, and you won't have to worry about looking at anything to protect you from an outside basis, i.e. a crystal, or putting yourself in a bubble. All right. So I hope that's answered your question, the person who left that comment. The other question that I have, again, brilliant question. They asked, do my actions now have an effect on my eternal soul? So anything that I do, either positively or negatively, does it affect me in the now? Does it affect me, you know, like as we class as in the future, which it really isn't where the soul goes? So bear with me. This is a little bit of a long answer. So again, we talk about positive and negative, but we're talking about the earth plane, three-dimensional plane, where we've been given these names of positive and negative. Okay. So when we get on a higher plane, so whether we're looking at fifth dimensional frequencies, higher and beyond that. So again, we're not working on a linear level. So whereas now we're talking about negative, positive, we're talking about polarity. And we don't work with any of these when we get on a higher level, okay? So we don't talk about things, because there aren't them. There are no positive and negative aspects. There is just frequency, okay? So if we look at it on a frequency, on a long level, imagine it's a piece of string, okay? So it's just different degrees of frequency. So it's either a lower aspect of frequency or a higher aspect of frequency. It's only the human, us, third dimensional, that has given it this positive or negative aspect of polarity. But there isn't. It's just frequency based. So again, you know, whatever we do within this entity, this body, third dimensional aspect of our human beingness, you know, it's a frequency base. There is really no negative or positive aspects. It's just a different degree of frequency. So again, our soul experiences that where we are different fractals. I mean, we're not just experiencing probably this earthly manifestation. We could be having many at the same time. And I know that's a bit of a mind-blowing thing, but you know, that's what we can do, because we are an amazing light being having an earthly experience. So don't look at it to the fact that whatever we're doing negatively or positively to the fact of how it works here, it's just a frequency-based thing. So if you take away those two named aspects that we've given, you know, we need to look at the level of which we're coming at and which we're operating at. And that is just a pure frequency level. Like I said, a lower frequency on the scale or a higher frequency on the scale. So I hope that's answered that question. So we've got one more, okay, before we call it a day for this session, because I don't want to go into any more complex issues, but we'll answer all of those on the next one. Now, this is a biggie, okay? So somebody said, sometimes I feel that I am a total believer in things spiritual and the afterlife, but occasionally I get an overbearing feeling that there is nothing, and there was a please help. So totally understand where you're coming from with this, totally. And what I can say is all I can do is speak from my experience, is that during my awakening and others, we go through a really expansive procedure, and some of it isn't pleasant, some of it is amazing. But if I've ever got to a stage of, sometimes, like I say, we all do, like what we call the dark night of the soul, where we're literally at rock bottom, and I do say that we question the fact of, you know, why are we here? What are we doing? Is there anything else afterwards? And I can only go to the fact that I have to then go back, I list all of my experiences, okay, because that's always my go-to thing. Not beliefs. Take the beliefs out of it. Take what you believe spiritually, take what you believe with the afterlife, take all of the belief away. And if you've had full-on experiences where I say they're the complete and utter knowings that you've had, Nobody can take those away from you. They are just so profound. And that's what I always come back to. Nobody can take those away. So even when I start to question my being, my purpose, when if I go through having a really bad time, which we all do, I come back to my core knowing. And note that I say not belief, knowing and experience. And I look through and I list them and I look through these things that I can literally not question. They're pure and utter knowingness. And I can only say that that to me brings me back to, gives me some solace at the end of the day. You know, I then know through my experience that, you know, there isn't just nothing out there afterwards. You know, I know that I've experienced it, but we sometimes still can question that. So yes, I understand where you're coming from. I understand, you know, on this path, if you are a spiritual person and you've had, you know, various things, or you've trained, or wherever you are in your journey, I understand totally where you're coming from. And all I would say to you is get a piece of paper and write down those pure experiences, those knowings that cannot be ever taken away from you, and look at them and immerse yourself in them, and you'll find comfort. You will find comfort, because then you understand that knowingness. You understand. You can ask your higher self to get involved in this. You can ask your guides to come in with this. And remember, on some of the other episodes within this course, that even me, you know, I forget. There's one particular episode where I'm looking for something and I forget to ask. And I ask, and I actually find what I'm looking for. So you can ask. You know, you can ask for that solace, for that comfort, for that realization, for them to come in and to assist. So please, like I say, when you think that you're at rock bottom and it gets overbearing and you think that there's nothing on the other side, then go back to basics, I would say, and go back to your experiences and write them down and sit with them, meditate, bring that energy in, and you will be feeling better, and they will come in and give you what I call a cosmic love hug. So we'll end on that today, because obviously that's a lot of information, a lot of complex answers and amazing questions. And I thank you again very much for putting them all out there. This channel is bringing me joy, and I hope it is to you. There's going to be lots of things that will be happening in the future that are already very exciting, that are planned for the end of this year and into next year. So again, I thank you very much for watching. So please remember to subscribe. Remember to like it, because then it gets put out and gets in front of more people. And one of the biggest things I will say is press the notification bell for all notifications. So each time a video comes up, you will be notified and it doesn't get lost in the YouTube soup. All right. So subscribe, like, and notifications, please. Thank you. So I'll see you on the next questions and answer session for unlocking your spiritual connection. Okay. Thank you. And I will see you shortly.